Manchester United eyeing up shock return for Angel Gomes with his contract at Lille set to expire in 2025. And Garnacho social media fallout after liking a post relating to Cristiano Ronaldo and Erik ten Hag. These are some of the topics we will be discussing on this morning's show. But before we get into that, please do me one small favour. Smash a like on today's video. Let's try and see 500 likes on this episode. And if this is your first time watching, please also subscribe to the channel. Currently, only 50% of people who watch our videos are subscribed. I'm live every day at 8:30 and 6 p.m. UK time. Make sure you get involved. Everyone is welcome. Right, let's get straight on into it then. And let's start the show off by talking about Angel Gomes. Obviously, he made his full England debut against Finland on Tuesday night, I think it was. 24 years of age, obviously came through the Manchester United Youth Academy. Very, very talented player. I thought he had an amazing game against Finland. I mean, obviously it was Finland, so I'm not going to over-egg the pudding. It wasn't like he was playing Brazil or France or Spain or Italy or whoever. It was Finland, and Finland are a poor side, but still he did look good. He's done very well for Lille over the last couple of years. And the interesting thing with Angel Gomes is his contract at Lille expires in June 2025. So he'll effectively be a free agent. He apparently isn't going to sign a new contract at Lille. And he will leave. And he will be available for nothing. Now, should Manchester United go back in for him? I think we should, 100%. He's only on £10,000 a week currently at Lille. So he's not going to be asking for like crazy wages. The stories coming out this morning are saying that apparently Angel Gomes is looking for around £70,000 to £100,000 a week, which is about the same amount as kind of Garnacho or Højlund or Xerxes. You know, it puts him in the kind of lower bracket category in relation to wages that we currently play. Last season, he played 45 times for Lille. He got 10 assists and 2 goals, which I mean, it's not amazing, but it's pretty decent. And then the season before that, so obviously he was at Lille, I think for the last 3 years or maybe 4 years. The season before that, he got, let me just have a quick look. He played 39 times and got 6 goals and 3 assists. Now, for me personally, I don't think he'd be a starting player. I think he'd be more of like a rotational option. Obviously, when Christian Eriksen goes, we will need to strengthen that midfield. Obviously, he is a homegrown player because he's come through Manchester United's youth academy, and we obviously need, a certain amount of homegrown quotas in that squad. And the interesting thing I like about Angel Gomes is his versatility. Obviously, he is predominantly an attacking midfielder, but he can also play as a central midfielder and he can play as a defensive midfielder. So he does give you quite a lot of different options. Obviously, now that he's broken into the England team, I think the interest in him is probably going to go up. The stories this morning are saying that apparently Newcastle are interested in signing him and Tottenham are interested in signing him. This is obviously next year when his contract expires in June 2025. But you'd imagine that he would favour a return to Manchester United if he genuinely thought that, he could get the game time that he'd require, or that he'd be looking for, which I think he'd probably be a rotational player. He's not going to be starting every single game. That's just not realistic. Let's be real. But I think as a rotational option, as somebody to come in and replace Christian Eriksen, whose contract obviously expires in June as well, I think he'd be a great option because we spent a lot of money this summer. Manchester United obviously yesterday announced that they recorded losses of £110 million in 1 year. Now, that's absolutely mad because apparently for PSR, I think it's 110 over a 3-year period, and Man United have lost 110 in one season. Now, the majority of that money is because of the partial takeover. The Glazers, being the Glazers, put £48 million, they said they claimed, against the club for the sale of the shares. I mean, I don't understand how this is even legal, to be honest. So just to give you a bit of context, right? The Glazers sold a percentage of shares to Jim Ratcliffe. They got ridiculous amounts of money for it, okay? But not only did they do that, they also then put all of the costs associated with selling those shares on the club. So Man United had to spend £48 million of Manchester United's money, their hard-earned money from ticket revenue, from sponsorship deals. That came out of Man United's accounts. I don't understand how it's legal, but apparently it is. So this figure that's kind of floating around in the media today saying that United lost 110 million, that figure is true. But that figure does include things like £48 million that the Glazers have claimed back off the club saying that they need it because of selling shares. I mean, I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense to me, but we are where we are. Now, the point I'm trying to make here is Manchester United will need to be a little bit more clever, I think, next year. They need to be a little bit more, what's the word? Sensible, clever, whatever you want to call it. They need to be a little bit more sensible because at the moment, we spent a lot of money in the transfer window, and some people would say not enough. You know, some people are like, we should have got another left back, we should have got another striker. But because the club's in so much debt, and because, because the club's in so much debt effectively, and because of profit and sustainability rules, we're going to have to be very, very clever going forward because we can't keep spending the way that we are, really. We can't, especially if we're not making the money that we need to kind of balance the books. Obviously, if we don't get Champions League this season, that's not going to help massively. We need to win some sort of trophies. We need to bring in some more commercial revenue. I'm not particularly worried about the profit and sustainability thing. I think it will be fine, but obviously it is a concern when you see, your annual accounts come out, and the headline is that Man United have lost, about £110 million. Like, that is concerning. Of course it is, because at the end of the day, we want Manchester United to be profitable. We want us to be making money, not losing money. So I've got the stats up here for last year. So the total losses for this was for 12 months up to June 2024 is £113 million we've lost, which is crazy, absolutely crazy. But as I said, that includes the Glazers claiming that they need £48 million from the club in order to facilitate the shares that were sold. I mean, I honestly don't understand how they keep getting away with these types of things, So you see that figure, £113.2 million was lost in a year. So we recorded record revenue, but at the same time, we recorded a loss of £113 million. Now, to be fair, the wage bill has come down by about 40 or 50 million. Obviously, we sold quite a few players this summer, like Scott McTominay and Willy Campoala, who'd all come through the youth team, so that will massively help things. And I think that's why, effectively, we've had to sell quite a lot of these youth players, because, we didn't actually spend that much money this summer when you look at it over a 5-year period. All of the deals we did or have done were spread over 5 years. So we spent, let me just get the figure up here. So we spent 100 and... where is it? Let me get up there it is. So in the summer transfer window just gone, come on, my computer's been so slow today. Come on, computer, faster. In the summer transfer window, we spent, that can't be right, 200 million. Yeah, we did. Wow. That's in euros, though. 214 million euros we spent. But the point I'm making here is, obviously, that's spread over a 5-year period because we're doing the fees and installments. So we only really spent like 40 million euros this summer. And obviously, Jadon Sancho, we've sold to Chelsea, and we'll get the money for him next year. So yeah, it's quite a lot, though, isn't it? When you look at the players we've got, right? I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just reacting to it. To have spent 214.5 million euros, and for that you got Mazraoui, Xerxes, De Ligt, Ugarte, and Lenny Yoro. Like, that's a hell of a lot of money to spend. And only time will tell whether those are good signings, I think Mazraoui so far has looked decent. I think Joshua Xerxes has looked decent, but I still think we needed like an out-and-out goal scorer. De Ligt, haven't really seen enough of him to make an opinion on yet. Obviously, Manuel Ugarte, we've not seen at all, and Lenny Yoro's injured. So, yeah, I mean, at the moment, it's pretty hard to actually kind of give a review of the transfer window because only really 2 of the players have actually had much game time, and that's Mazraoui and Xerxes. The other 3 have either been injured, not fit, or not ready to start, So, yeah, it's maybe a little bit concerning, but obviously we've got a long way to go in the summer. So, yeah, we'll wait and see what happens with that. Let's see what people are saying in the chat this morning. People are saying that the Glazers should clear the debt. The Glazers are never going to clear the debt. Never. Why would they? They can just keep taking. Yeah. They're definitely not going to clear the debt. Ever, I don't think. They'll clear the debt when they sell the club, and they'll get whoever's buying the club to clear the debt for them. So, yeah. Lightning says the problem last season was that we qualified for the Champions League, which means the players' wages went up, but then we didn't even get out of the group stage. Yeah, that's a fair point. Obviously, we're not in the Champions League now, are we? So those wages should have come down, and we cleared about 40 or 50 million pounds worth of wages in the summer. So that should have really, really helped our financial fair play situation, hopefully, or PSR, whatever you want to call it. Jude says I 100% would swap Gomes for Eriksen. Yeah, I think so. It makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? You know, Christian Eriksen's contract expires. He's on 150k a week. You let Christian Eriksen go. You don't give him a new deal. And then you bring Angel Gomes in as a replacement. I think he'd be a decent replacement. I think as a squad player, Angel Gomes would be a really, really interesting option. So, yeah, I'm excited to see how that materializes. I'm excited to see, you know, what the future holds for Angel Gomes. And hopefully that future is at Manchester United. Right, let's move on to the next story then, and let's talk a little bit about Garnacho. So this story, I think, has been blown out of proportion a little bit. There's a lot of people on the internet who are really upset about this. So effectively what's happened here, right? Obviously we know about Cristiano Ronaldo doing an interview yesterday with Rio Ferdinand on the 5 podcast, okay? And Fabrizio Romano then retweeted the information, the quotes from the interview. So the main quote that's caused the upset is this. It says, so this is a direct quote from Cristiano Ronaldo that Fabrizio Romano retweeted. So Ronaldo says, Man United's coach, Erik ten Hag, cannot say they're not able to compete to win the Premier League and the Champions League every year. He says, this is Manchester United. You have to be there to mentally say, listen, maybe we don't have that potential this year, but I cannot say that. We have to try. You're going to try. So that's what he said, okay? Fabrizio Romano reposted it, and then Garnacho has liked it on social media, on Instagram and on Twitter. He's liked the post, effectively saying that the Man United manager, Erik ten Hag, can't publicly say that they're not in a position to win the Premier League. Now, this has obviously sent people into a meltdown. People are saying, Jadon Sancho calls out the manager. How is this any different? Like, people are trying to compare. People are trying to point score. I don't really like this, to be honest. I think Garnacho in the past has had a couple of things where he's liked tweets and posts and stuff, hasn't he? And I think all I'd say to him is, like, not come off social media. Like, obviously he's going to always be on social media, but he just needs like a team around him that he trusts and people who are managing his account for him, who know that like liking things like this isn't particularly productive. Obviously, Erik ten Hag gave Garnacho his opportunity. You know, Garnacho has become a first-team player under Erik ten Hag because of Erik ten Hag, really, if you think about it. So I get why he's liked it, because at the end of the day, he loves Cristiano Ronaldo. He's his idol. We get it, you know, and he'd probably like anything he posts, regardless of what he actually says. Like, he might not have even read it. Who knows? But still, like, it doesn't look particularly good for... it doesn't look particularly good, you know, if you're Erik ten Hag and you see or you hear that Garnacho has been liking something, which is effectively like criticising you or slagging you off. Like, it, yeah. And it'll be interesting to see what happens on the weekend now. I think, you know, if Garnacho starts the game, then fine, just brush it under the carpet. But you never know, do you? You never know with Erik ten Hag. Maybe he looks at this situation and he's like, you know, I'm not going to play you because of this. It's a possibility. And I mean, if we win the game, then people will say fine. But if we lose the game and he doesn't play Garnacho, then, you know, there's going to be absolute uproar, isn't there? So I don't know. It's a little bit of a strange one. I think it's kind of been blown out of proportion a little bit. You know, there's a lot of people very, very upset about this, saying that, you know, if this was Jadon Sancho or if this was another player, you know, the reaction would be different. I don't really agree, to be honest. I think it's pretty harmless. We know that, as I said, Garnacho is like Ronaldo's number one fan. He loves Ronaldo, all the rest of it. So I don't think it's malicious. I'm pretty sure Garnacho would be very grateful for everything that Erik ten Hag's done for him at Manchester United. Because without Erik ten Hag, Garnacho probably wouldn't be a starting player for Manchester United, I don't think, you know? I mean, he might have been. It's impossible to say. I mean, he definitely has the potential. He definitely has the talent. But under Erik ten Hag last season, he was playing like nearly every game, wasn't he? So, yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what you guys will think about this, though. Like, do you think this is a problem? Like, what do you think? You know, let me know what you guys think. Tom says he should be fined 2 weeks' wages for ill discipline. Fair enough. I definitely think he shouldn't be like on social media doing stuff like that. I mean, it doesn't help, does it? when the manager's obviously under pressure, the team's under pressure. You've just lost 2 games in a row. You've got a massive game on the weekend against Southampton in a must-win fixture. Yeah, like, it's not great at all. But yeah, but in something a little bit more positive, Manchester United are back at Carrington today. Apparently, it is a full squad, so everybody's there. In relation to injuries, apparently Højlund's still not ready to start. Mason Mount's obviously injured. Luke Shaw, we're still waiting to find out whether he's going to be available. But the players are back at Carrington today, and Erik ten Hag will, we'll have a training session today. So hopefully we get some pictures later on today. Hopefully Luke Shaw's back. Hopefully Manuel Ugarte's there. Like, that's what we need. We need to be full strength for the game against Southampton on Saturday. But I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. At the moment, the news is relatively quiet, so I'm not going to stay on here for ages, just going over the same thing over and over again. But I will be back at 6 o'clock. Please make sure to leave a like before you go. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. This has been Daily Red Devil. Have a lovely evening, day, morning. I'll speak to you all later. Bye for now.